speak for all of the staff here when I say, man, that they love you unconditionally, but they love you too much to keep you where you are. As great as you are, as high as your expectations are, you're better than a lot of the decisions that you're making. Now, in my occupation and what I do, I'm in the juvenile halls twice a week. And when I'm in the juvenile halls, I speak to the young men and the young women. Some of you might know off of Kiefer Boulevard, because I know some of them. I got family members that are incarcerated. I'm a gang diversion counselor, gang diversion specialist. I might be the only gang counselor that you ever know of that is not anti-gang. Because see, anti means to push away. I want to draw the gang member near. I'm not anti-gang, I'm anti-pain, I'm anti-violence. Because you see, when somebody says gang, in the theater of my mind, I see the faces of loved ones and family members. So when somebody says, man, gangs are evil, when you say my father's evil? My brother is evil? Really? See, right there, the wall already goes up, but I am anti-violence, and I'm anti-bad decisions. I could ask you all right now, what kind of people go to prison? And some of you, whether you answered or not, you would think, bad people, wrong. Good people go to prison that make bad decisions. What kind of people go to prison? Well, people who are bad and have bad hearts. Wrong. Good people with great hearts go to prison that make one bad decision. Okay, listen, I'm a big fan of the scared straight process. But there's nothing more terrifying. There's nothing more scary. There's nothing more horrifying in your worst nightmares or any type of haunted house or movie you've ever seen than the truth and the statistics behind the truth. I can tell you the truth about me being at Preston IOM for over 4 years before they shut it down and me speaking to a 16-year-old boy serving 65 years. Yeah. That's terrifying. I'll take a haunted house while watching a horror movie over the vision of that outcome. And I asked that young man from Fresno, California, I said, bro, what happened and why? He said, bro, I was just kicking back. I was playing Xbox. I was with my homegirl. We was kicking. We were having a good time. It was 2 a.m. in the morning. I got the phone call from the homies, the loved ones, the ones that, you know, ride or die. He said, bro, they're at Jack in the Box. Right? I mean, plot, plan, and strategize. I mean, hello. If you're anti-violence, you have no business being a gang member. So he said, really? He said, round it up. He was sergeant at arms. He rounded up. Made a very tragic decision. Loaded up the homies. Now, mind, remember, 2 a.m. Saturday with this girlfriend, kicking it, having fun, doing his thing, playing Black Ops. Shows up, a Jack in the Box. People start shooting. His bullet hits. He gets rolled up. I said, really? So what are you telling me? Well, why'd you do it? He said, for the block. I said, who's your block? He said, my homeboys. I said, when's the last time you seen your homeboys? He said, 3 months ago. I said, really? He said, yeah, when they were testifying against me. 65 years. I don't care how hard you want to act like you are, because I'm only human. And as big as bad as I might think I am, you get a little needle and poke me, I will bleed. Don't you ever start becoming so arrogant to think that when 65 years are thrown at you, the things that a man or a woman will do. And I could sit here and ask you, how down are you for your homies? How down are you for your homegirls? How down are you for your familia and your hood and your block? And all of you might come with a positive answer that sounds good in this atmosphere. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of homeboys that are like hard as nails, but when it comes to 65 years, they wouldn't throw a color crayon in a kindergarten right. Must have graded in Napa Valley. Listen. I learned my slang. I learned my slang from the homies in prison. Listen. I was just there 3 Saturdays ago. But that's real talk. Because listen, drugs, alcohol, violence. I hear you stealing that one. You can use that. What's that? Okay, take those. I got more, homie. So, you got everybody with the gangs and the alcohol and the drugs. Listen, let me tell you something. You know about the economy, right? It's hard to get a job. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you something. Drugs, alcohol, violence, and gangs, and disrespect, and addiction, and broken homes, broken hearts, and broken promises are an equal opportunity employer. They'll hire anybody. And they're hiring. And business is booming when you step up to the plate and say, I don't care about my life. My mama put her boyfriends in front of me. My papa, man, he left. He was never there. So why should I care? Why don't I just follow the crowd without asking where the crowd is going? Why not? He did, and he did, and he did, and he did, and he did. Why not disrespect these beautiful, awesome instructors here? Why not? He did, and he did, and he did. Nobody wants to be authentic anymore. Nobody wants to be original. Why? Because you might sound silly. Because if you don't wear your mask and you don't say what he wants you to hear and he thinks is cool, then you ain't cool. Really? What happened to being authentic? What happened to being original? What happened to saying what's on your heart when it's on your heart? What happened to forgiving and saying, I'm sorry? When did that become weak? Because I'll tell you something, we could all take a guided tour down Kiefer Boulevard on Juvenile Hall. We could all take a guided tour to Folsom State Prison. And you talk to some straight up hardcore killers, homeboys that have been locked up since 1979. Feel me? They wasn't driving. I know homeboys, they have never been in a car with electric windows. Or 23-hour lockdown shoe unit, Skeleton Bay. Pelican Bay, you might refer to it as. You're so deep in the hole, they got to pump you air. Why don't you try driving 9 hours just to go visit your homeboy through a television set? And then you ask him where following the crowd took him. You ask him where going against your morals and ethics took him. And they'll all tell you at the end of the day, man, they did it to follow the crowd. They did it to belong. And I have seniors that will say, man, I'm doing a school project, man. I want to know what gangs are all about. I say, wait a minute, what do you mean? What are gangs all about? Yeah, how did the gang start? It's a puzzle. Addiction is a puzzle. Gangs is like a puzzle, and each piece represents something. Whether it's the poverty, or whether it's the lack of attention, or whether it's the environment, or whether it was your brother and you were born in it, or you were sworn in it in any way, shape, form, or fashion, your environment, you put that puzzle together, you look back, and it spells G-A-N-G-S. Or it'll spell D-R-U-G-S. Or violence, or addiction, or insecurities. You know how it is to put that mask on. If I could put that mask on just tight enough, they ain't going to know who I really am. They'll never find out at night when I lie in bed and I look up at the ceiling in the dark and I say, there's got to be more than this. There's got to be more than this. You got to realize how important you are. And each and every one of you were born with a treasure chest. And in that treasure chest is your passions. In that treasure chest is your desires or your gifts. It's your future and your destiny. And everything that this world has to offer you in the form of gangs and drugs and peer pressure, I call peer pressure the fear to say no. All those things, man, that's pocket change compared to what's in your personalized treasure chest. And you know how you open it? It's a key. It's in the shape of only your heart, and your heart alone can only open it. But so many people grow old, and as years pass by, that treasure chest does nothing but collect dust. Well, it looks back at you going, when are you going to open it? When are you going to do it? When are you going to be ready to hold your future in your hands and take off of being original because you were not born a copycat, but you've been living like one? Listen, each and every one of you has no competition. Zero. Why? Because there's nobody on this planet Earth that could be better at you than you. You're one. Competition is none. Competition is none. So why in the world would you pretend to be him? Why in the world would you pretend to be her? When you are one. Your mama was one. Your father was one. Now, I know if I sat down with each and every one of you, one-on-one, like I do when I'm outside here in the South area at these schools and in these assessment centers and juvenile halls, I get to hear the stories. And they're heartbreaking, man. I know what it is. I've seen the young lady walking down the street that's, just trying to mind her own business, me mugging anybody that walks by. Why? Because she's saying, I dare you to care. The young man that's just doing his thing, you know what I'm saying? Just what? Tattooed up. Tatted out, never ratted out, sitting there. G'd up from the feet up. But he's saying, I dare you to love me. I dare you. Because when I get home, in my environment, I see a lot of kids that I do holistic approaches. That means I go to the homes. I see those things. And again, man, I'll judge myself before I judge anybody else. But I see a lot of unfortunate situations. A lot. Do you understand, as Americans, as proud Americans, that we live in a country where our garbage disposals eat better than 80% of the planet Earth. Yet, let's go back to those horrific, scary statistics, because remember, nothing's more scarier than the truth. We live in a country, America makes up less than 5% of the entire world's population. We, as a country, the US of A, make up less than 5% of the planet Earth's population. Yet, we make up for 25% of the entire planet's prison population. 25%. We're less than 5% of the planet Earth's population. We make up 25% of the planet Earth's prison population. That is more, and I'm not talking about pre-conviction, the dude that's in front of the judge that's looking at him going, what life are you going to hand me right now? And I'm not talking about the thousands upon thousands of hundreds of thousands of young men and women on probation. I'm talking about human beings behind lifeless, cold walls and bars sucking in processed air as we speak. We make up 25%. You know what that is? We make up more than every single industrialized country on this planet Earth all together, put together, combined. Every single industrialized country put together, combined, does not beat the statistic of 25%. And the number one reason, that's a scary statistic. And I challenge every one of you, man, to search these facts that I'm throwing at you. Listen, that's scary. And the number one reason why young men and women are getting rolled up to be part of this industrial thing we call prison, this money-making Forbes 500 industry, is drugs. In some shape, form, or fashion, drugs and alcohol are a part of it. So, and remember, marijuana is a drug and it's illegal. Hey, homie, but it's all natural. Well, homie, poison oak's all natural. When's the last time you seen somebody roll up a poison oak blunt? And we go in the hometown buffet, bro. Hey, there's that poison ivy salad, man. Throw some ranch on that. All natural don't mean nothing to me. It's illegal. Listen, if they made chocolate illegal, I'm coming up with the most silliest, ridiculous law. If they made, and I love chocolate, trust me. If they made, now you know what to give me for Christmas. If they made chocolate illegal, man, wait up, let me go further. If they made steak illegal, let's get real. I love steak. If they made steak illegal, silly and as ridiculous as it would be, I might even be out in front of the Capitol with a sign and all that. I wouldn't eat steak. Why? Because I love steak, but I don't love it as much as my freedom. Now, listen. You live in the number one country on the planet Earth that convicts you over the number one thing on the planet Earth why they're convicting is drugs. So if you're sitting in one of these chairs in the United States of America at 9:49 right now, and you're in America and you're doing drugs and you're like, I ain't gonna get caught. I mean, you might as well jump in a swimming pool with 100 man-eating sharks while you're in the air doing a cannonball talking about, I ain't gonna get big. Really? Really? Man, homie, you need to write a book, bro. I'll be the first in line to buy it. It's not going to happen. If drugs went away today, wham, the foster care system would be eliminated.
Oh, hell yeah.
It'd be a wrap. It'd be a wrap. No more little babies getting transferred through 40 different homes, being misdiagnosed and all these medications, but every which way, who and what. Cohabitated inside of these warehouses, which I go to and visit. They wonder why the little girl gets up and starts flipping desks because she's already been to 20 different schools and 20 different families, feeling disenfranchised, her culture chopped in half, her family tree sawed in pieces because of home after home after home, because of drugs. And as we all know, anything that kills you is wrong. Cigarettes, tobacco, killing millions upon millions upon millions, lung cancer upon millions, addiction, tobacco, highly addicted, marijuana, addictive. Listen, anything that you cannot say no to is stronger than you. I want that to marinate. Anything that you cannot say no to is stronger than you. So wait a minute, I could break a joint with my pinky. I could smash a pill with my thumb and index finger, yet it's stronger than me. because I can't say no. How weak are we? How weak are we? I'm a firm believer in calling it for what it is. Okay? I'm all about that. I don't lie. Don't lie to me. Why? Because you don't like liars. I don't like liars. I'm not here to lie to you. Drugs, calling them for what they are. Violence, calling for what they are. Addiction, in any way, shape, form, or fashion, whether it's cigarettes to violence, it's all an addiction. It's all going to go one place, in one direction. Each and every one of you were born with a game plan, but you redirected your GPS and you started following the crowd. You started following that crowd. I'm a true believer in identities. When you give something a name, you give it an identity. Okay? Think about that. When you give something a name, you're giving it an identity. Now, I'm going to get deep right now. You've got to follow me. If you were all here today convicted of something and were thrown behind juvenile hall walls or YA walls, locked away, incarcerated, gone for a full calendar, it's a year, 12 calendar pages, wrapped, done, birthday, gone, Christmas, gone, Thanksgiving, gone, summer, done. Your Audi 5000, you're gone, man. You're in there like, what? There's no case to fight. It's a year, it's a wrap, it's closed. And you found out somebody you knew did that to you. And that person had a name. Trust me, you'd be making some bad decisions. You'd be calling up the homies talking about, whoop. Put it on Facebook. You'd be like, tweet, hashtag rap. You know what I mean? It would be like, you'd be all over that. It'd be done. That person's name would be on billboards next to Walmart. You feel me? Like it'd be just known. It'd be like the Save Ferris. No, it's an old movie, but it'd be like, you got it. You know what I'm talking about, Ferris Bueller. But no, it would be like everywhere. Because this guy put you away. He said the word that took you away. I'm not going to go in whether or not you deserve it, whether or not it was your fault, whether or not you made your own bed, or whether or not you should lie in it like a man or a woman. I'm not going to go into that. But if you did, if that happened to you, when you knew the first and last name of that person, you knew their name, you would no longer call them by that name. You know what you would call them now? And this was somebody used to kick it with, enemy. Sure, you could say snitch, you could say rap, you could say rolled over, you could say all those things, but he would be enemy. Right. And there's about 100 words you could call it. But at the end of the day, all those words would still be the definition of enemy. Okay? Your rival, your opposition. Okay? It would be your enemy. That person now is your enemy. Now you gave it a name, and now it has an identity. Okay? But wait a minute. Wait a minute. Close to 80% of your family, your friends, your homie, and your community, my population, family, and community, is getting locked up behind drugs. Let's just say marijuana. It put me away. It threw my summer out the door. It put me behind bars. It tore my family apart. Drugs took mama and papa away from me. It put my brother in a 6 foot, well now it's 4.5 because they're trying to save money, 4.5 foot grave. It got me wearing the rest in peace, doing a car wash to raise money for the funeral. But yet, when you get out, that's the first person you party with. That's your homie. The one that took you out the game is your homie. I'm going to go blow that blunt. That same homie that took me out the game. That same homie that my dad chose over me. Chose over mama, cheating on mama. That's my homie. But if it was a person, it'd be a rap. It'd be violent. And that's a bad decision. But you would be thinking that way. But it's all Gucci if it's weed, though. It's all good, right? So you just move into a new neighborhood and you hear. You answer the door. Hey, what's happening, man? I'm your neighbor. I just want to introduce myself. I really only have one job description. That's to try to do everything that I can to destroy your life. Get you out the game to like totally evaporate your freedom. You and mom completely and dad. Destroyed. I want to cause a wedge, cause division, take a match, burn the bridge, blow you up. Mess your future up. And maybe get you addicted. Don't really want you dead because then that's too easy. But just letting you know I'm next door, homie, if you need to borrow me sugar. You're going to be like, yeah, at the least, that's conservative reaction. But that's weed. And that's drugs. I mean, do we have to go down the names? If it's illegal, I told you if they make steak illegal, I'd hate that, but I wouldn't do it because I love my freedom more. So, you got to start calling it for what it is. We all want to keep it 100, but why don't we keep it 100? You're talking about, hey, listen, I'd rather keep it 50% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape. There you go, thank you. So what 100 you talking about? I'm going to keep it 100, yeah, 100% of a grape, homie. I'll take 50% of a watermelon over 100% of a grape any day. All right? So when you sit here saying, I'll keep it 100, but yet that same situation took your parents out the game, your uncle out the game, grandma out the game, your homies out the game, you out the game, and you still cool with it. That's worse than a snitch because at least you know who that is. You're sleeping with the enemy, bro. You're sleeping with the enemy. You've been blinded. I would rather see clearly in the middle of a raging storm than to live blindly on the most beautiful, calm day. The definition of being blind is to have no vision. Y'all deliberately inflicting yourself with blindness. Listen, man, I'm not coming down on you, man. I'm coming with the truth, and the truth hurts. Can you imagine going to the doctor's office? Something's really doing something really wrong inside of you. And you know whatever that wrong is, it ain't an earache, it ain't a throat thing. This is like some surgery wrong. So you go see the doctor. But moments before he steps in the room, the fear of surgery strikes you. The fear of a scalpel cutting you open hits you. And it's scary. And you go, whoa, 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 man, I'm going to go see Batman and I'm good. We'll go see Wreck-It Ralph. Wait. And, it's a good movie, by the way. And so the doctor comes in. And moments before you tell him what's wrong with you, that fear of surgery sets in and you lie. And you say, I got an ear infection. Yeah, that's what's up. I got an ear infection. And then he goes, really? Yeah, got an ear infection. So he gives you a prescription for your ear. But yet you walk out a dead man. Because of fear. Because of fear. Because you didn't keep it real. Or what kind of doctor would be the type of doctor that took an x-ray, noticed that you had cancer that was completely curable. But because he knew you had a family reunion that night, he didn't want to ruin your day, so he said everything's all right. You walk out happy, smiling, high-fiving each other, a dead man, a dead woman. What kind of doctor is that? That's not a good doctor. That's a murderer. So you look in the mirror and you have a tough conversation with yourself and say, what have I been telling me? This bald-headed brother sitting up here just told me these statistics. He just told me this real talk. See, you know what my goal is? I didn't want to say this up front, and y'all might have just like not even try to listen to me. My whole objective is to ruin you. I don't want you to ever party the same again. Why? You can't now. Because I just deposited truth in you. And it ain't going nowhere. So every time you party, every time you kick it, and it's a good thing, that truth is there, that accountability. Integrity is what you do when nobody else is looking. And when you're in that smoke-filled room, and you got that peer pressure pounding down on you, and the beat's bumping, and the homies are kicking, and it's all good, and nobody's going to say anything that you're doing is wrong, is when then the challenge hits you and say, you know what, my teacher, no, wait a minute, my mama, no, wait a minute, my Lord, whatever your thing is. No, I'm not going to do that, man. I'm good. You'll see who's down for you. You'll see who's down for you. And I don't care what they say about you, they'll always respect you. They'll always respect you. You got to take that stand. You got to move forward. You're going to lose some friends. You're going to feel alone. It doesn't mean you are alone. Things are going to seem to not be going your way when you make the right decisions. And it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. Because see, I can sit here and say, how many of you down for your homies? Whoa, I don't need to see your hands. How many of you, but I do want to see your hands right now, and I'm going to put you on Front Street, and my hand's going to go up too. How many of you here are related to or know somebody that is incarcerated right now? Put it away. Okay, you can put your hands down before everybody starts looking around. You put your hands down. You put your hands down. Question. When's the last time you wrote your home? There you go. All right, that's enough. That's enough. Let's just say that was a whole lot less than what went up. So wait a minute. But wait a minute. I'm sure you still are down. I'm not putting I'm not gauging your love for your friends or your homies. But think about it. Your ride or die, and went like Deuce's hands went up. Too. But wait a minute, I'm with you too. I'm raising my hand for the ones that didn't raise their hand. You know what I'm saying? I'm there too. I'm guilty. But you feel me now? See? It's different when you're the one looking at yourself in the mirror. Look, you ain't even right in there. Makes you think they're going to write you. When you get 65 years. When you're on your deathbed. Who's going to be there? Mama or grandma or guardian. They're going to be there giving you that chicken noodle soup. They're going to be there holding your hand. Reading something inspirational to keep you going one more day. But I've had those homeboys. Oh man, Joaquin's a sucker, man. He went outside like, bro, he don't blow trees no more. He don't drink anymore, man. He don't kick it anymore. He's not at the parties anymore. Jaw jacking. And I got to admit, man, it got to me. I even went out looking for some of them, man, to confront them. What's this I'm talking? Man, I'm hearing a lot from you, brother. I got nothing but pats on the back before, bro. Now it's really? But guess what, man? 2012, those same homeboys, those same girls, calling me, hey bro, hey man, and my daughter, bro, she's and homie, she's banging, bro, and she's kicking it with woo man. There was a shooting at the hotel she was at, and everybody was, brother, can you come and go talk to her, brother, please? Hey bro, man, my grandfather's in the hospital, man, he's dying. Come maybe help us pray with him, man. Those same homies that put me down when I left. Now saying, look, I wish I had the guts. I wish I had the guts to say no in front of the homies. Like I said, anything you can't say no to is stronger than you. You got to start doing one thing today. You got to start listening to these great instructors here. Because they know what they're talking about. Because it's the human condition to think they don't because they don't walk, talk, or look, or bump the same beat you listen to. You put yourself in a box and you never look past that fourth wall to realize they know exactly these beautiful instructors here sacrificing their lives to do what they do. It's a shame when prison guards get paid more than the creators and the molders and shapers of this generation. And they're sacrificing so much they go through to pour into you to make deposits so that you can make a withdrawal one day. You got to put money in to be able to get money out. And they're dropping racks on racks inside of you. Some of y'all are like, no, I'm good. I don't want that. I don't want that. You need to start listening because you know what the human condition does? The human condition is like this. White wall. Sign this big. Says laminated too. Wet paint. And what do? So, wet paint, don't touch. Wet. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. We really do that. That's the human condition, right? We got a sign there. It looks wet. It says wet paint, do not touch. It looks wet. It smells wet. Man, that's some wet paint. And it says wet paint, don't touch. But what do? Because we don't want to believe that. But yet we'll be at the party. And then there's the homeboy sitting out on the patio lounge chair, right? He like, hey, you know what though, homie? You know there's like 400,000 and a half billion trillion stars in the cosmos, right? And you're like, for real? Oh, damn, I didn't even know all that. You feel me? believe Weedhead Willie, but it's like, because we used to, you know, when you get, it's late night, you chop it up, and we start pulling out Discovery Channel facts on you. You believe that? You believe this guy, you believe this dude, he's like 28 years old, never went to high, why is he even hanging with you? And he's telling you there's like 4,500 billion trillion stars. He ain't even putting his numbers together right. In the cosmos, and you believe him, but you didn't believe the sign that said wet paint do not touch. That wet paint do not touch sign that you don't believe half the time is your teachers and instructors. True. In so many ways. In so many ways. Listen, I don't have the amount of hours in my life to congratulate you for the right things you're doing. That's real talk. I want to congratulate, and if I had the resources and the money to buy you something, medals, each and every one of you, man, I would have you in a single file line and congratulate you and even salute you for the positive things that people aren't even noticing that you've done. I get it. I know a lot of the things you've been doing have been magnified, but trust me, I get it. I know you've done some great things. And I know a lot of you have only your days and your moments of disrespect with these teachers, and I'm sure you genuinely love them and respect them. But at the end of the day, I told you what? Good people with good hearts go to prison for one bad decision. So I don't got enough time to be easy with you. You know, I'm not part of the administration here to see you every day, and they're doing more than enough to help you. But I don't got that. You know, I've seen it, man. I've seen it all. And I know pain is pain. I couldn't even sit here and tell you that your pain ain't as hardcore as the young men that I met in Folsom State Prison. The ones that have even been locked up for the majority of their life. I won't even say that their pain is greater than yours, because pain is pain. It's no good. It never is. When I think about drugs, alcohol, and tobacco, I think about them talking about their friends who have died in prison prematurely from cancer, lung cancer. Tobacco affects every single organ in the human body. And you want to talk about secondhand smoke in prison? Listen, I could tell you about a doctor that I met in there. Okay? A doctor who, because of drugs, blown his brains out on drugs, methamphetamines, murdered his wife and his daughter. And never wants to get out. He doesn't care to do good time. Why? He doesn't deserve it, he says. He prays for the day that he can get the death penalty. That's what drugs did. You think he'll ever hang out with drugs again? You think he'll ever consider drugs his homie? I guarantee you that guy's given drugs a name with an identity called enemy. Listen, you would never have the heart to invest into any type of war if you do never consider the possibility of considering that thing or somebody your enemy. You just can't. It has to be your enemy for you to go to war. And without war, there is no such thing as victory. Like there is no such thing as healing without sickness. There has to be one for the other to exist. You'll never see victory if you never go to war. And that addiction, whether it's violence, that addiction, whether it's disrespect, lying, whether it's laziness and procrastination, in all shapes, forms, and factions, it's a monster, and it's chasing you, and it's going to chase you for the rest of your life. Now, you can outrun it. Trust me, you can outrun it and look back, and it ain't there, but guess what? It's still coming. 20 years from now, still coming. You might not see it. It's about to turn that corner, though. There's only one way to defeat it. You have to kill it. There's only one way. You have to kill it. There's no other option. You've been running too long, man. It's time to face up to that and stop listening to this ridiculous media and the music that's pumping that stuff into you. You know what wouldn't make a good rap video? You know what wouldn't? Is a homeboy serving 23 years in Skeleton's Bay that still gets up and does 100 burpees. Still puts on his state-issued boots because he's a warrior and he was there for homicide, killing a rival gang member, that still puts his back against the wall like this and stands to attention, knowing he will never see his enemy ever again. Yet he wakes up every morning as if he will. As a shower comes to him electrically, he'll never see a human being again. That wouldn't make for a really good, popular MTV Music Award or 106 in Park video, would it? But that would be reality. How about the D-Boy? It wouldn't make for a good rap video when the D-boys got mama addicted and papa's in prison and the children are waking up in the middle of the night going, Mama, where's my mother? I want my dad to come home. That wouldn't make for a popular rap music video, would it? It would be very impactful. It wouldn't be entertaining. It wouldn't be entertaining like the lie we see with the bling and the rise. Now listen, you can achieve all those things. They're all there waiting for you with your name written all over them, the candy paint and all that stuff. You do it the right way. Because if you've experienced what I've experienced and you've heard what I've heard, man, I've talked to them all. I'm not going to sit here and glamorize the things that I've heard in the homes and the you know, the materialistic situations that I know when I visit these people what they have owned. But right now, it's nada. It's all gone. Because you got to know when you invest bad, you get bad. You plant bad seed, you grow nothing. You plant good seed, you grow harvest. And some of you have got to start planting that good seed, and it's tough. But it might not sprout today or tomorrow or next year, but when it comes, it's coming in full. And you know exactly what I'm talking about because you have family members that are involved in that. I got family members that are involved in that, in the D game, in and out and in. People are always saying young men and women are looking for structure. Why do you think prison is so popular? Because they get structure. They get to go to the dentist at the SATC, Sacramento Assessment Treatment Center. They get to, you know, go out to pizza. I've asked those homeboys, man, what are you doing for Christmas? Man, I'm staying here. That breaks my heart. They want to stay there because when they go visit home, it's chaos. It's madness. So they feel they got to be locked up to have structure. I'm talking Hmong. I'm talking Caucasian, African American, Hispanic. I'm talking American Indian, Tongan. Man, I deal with them all. The Kazan Tong, the MOD, Masters of Destruction, Menaces of Destruction, JCC, Junior Criminal Crib. So I could go down the whole list. Norteño, Sureño. I could go down Frank Lawn. I could go down the whole. They're all on my caseload. Every single hood you've ever thought of, unless they're less than 20 members deep. I see one-on-one. I spend 1 hour, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, a year. All day, every day. Hundreds, thousands, and thousands of one-on-ones and be just like me and you, just chopping it. Boom, you're here, I'm here. We sit down and tell me what's on your heart, what's on your mind, where you came from, what you're doing, what's happening. I do that every single day. From middle school up to high school senior, your age bracket, all the way to the juvenile hall, all the way to the prisons. Trust me, I've heard the stories. And when they're in that situation, they get it real. Because they got nobody to impress. They're locked up, one, and two, there ain't no homies there. To go, homie, you going soft. You feel me? Especially in the prison. But they keep it real. I've seen Nuestra Familianos, La M, BGF, Aryan Brotherhood, crying to me while I'm crying back. Listening to the most heartbreaking stories. Trust me, real men cry, real women cry, that's real talk. It's tough. The crowns and the victories that you and I will wear in this lifetime will be those that you're going to have to rip out of the hands of the giants that you're going to have to fight. Fight war. It's not going to be easy. What is that giant? Who is that monster? Addiction. Who is that monster? Who is that giant? Violence. I'll go through them over and over again. The games, the thought, the thinking that you can't, you won't, and you never will be. That's a lie. Stop asking yourself how you feel and start telling yourself how you feel. By the sound of my voice, nobody. Your mother cannot give you this fourth one. Your father, your parents, your closest home lady, you're closer than even your own parent cannot give you this. This is the one step when every arrow's been shot at you. Blah! At point blank range. And even the coward behind the bush that got a clear shot with the $1,500 scope, blah, likes to talk and run. Not even he. When the smoke and the fire has been turned up past 1,000 degrees, and when it all dies down and you're sitting there and your sword's in the shape of an L, and you got a missile stuck in your front plate, and there's arrows all over you, and you're still standing, this last step is going to be the reason why. You have to have the will. You have to have the will. There's a story. There's a story about a young boy who was born in San Jose, California. This young man didn't have the will to win. My whole life told me, man, I told me that I should either be dead or in prison by the age of 28. But not because of some weights, but because somebody believed in me. I started to believe in me. I started getting a vision and a purpose for my life. I could sit here and tell you all day about how I felt like my address was 0 and how I felt like I lived on Dead End Street. But it's not about that anymore. It's about moving forward. Anytime and every time I fall, and I do every day, I try to fall forward. And that's the same with each and every one of you here. Now, it wasn't until the age of 28 that I got my life together. How much more greater things will you be doing than myself and even the teachers here? I'm looking at each and every one of you right now. And I can tell you right now, I'm looking at some of the great future counselors that ever lived. And trust me, I go to UC Davis. I've even spoken at graduation classes in the clinical field. You'd be the greatest counselors to ever live. Why? Because you lived it. Don't you dare lie to yourself and say you can't do that. Guess what? If there's somebody in here saying, man, Joaquin, you know what, man? I gave up. I gave up on miracles, brother. Guess what? You're too late because I'm looking at about 200 of them right now.
That's right.
Each and every one of you. Thank you. Listen, man, I don't do this for fun. I do this to win. And you're winners, and I believe in you. And if you've never had somebody, and I know you have, or a father figure, I'll be that now. I believe in you. I believe in you, brother. And I believe in you. I believe in every one of you. I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in you. You guys were born for greatness. There's 2 great days that happens in a person's life. And this goes for everybody in this room. Don't you ever forget it. 1, the day you're born. And 2, the day you find out what you're born for. Original, you were born champions, you were royalty. Thank you for your time, and God bless you.
Thank you.